Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, who's got a monitor in his hands, because monitors! I want to throw this, but if I do that, I'm wasting a monitor, which I can't really use because it doesn't have HDMI. It's just one of those old ones. It's a compact. It's a compact, and my brother put like my Asus sticker on here because he likes being a meme. But yeah, shitty monitor. Just wanted to bring that up randomly, just show it on screen because I had nothing else to really do. So yeah, welcome to a brand new video, guys. Today, actually, please, like, for this video, sit back, relax, because we are going to be going, I think this may be a 20 to 25 minute video. I don't even know yet because I'm recording it right now, but this is going to be a long video, and I can already tell that due to the fact that the amount of information we're going to break down today, thanks to Detective Gooky on Twitter, also known as BlazyCurm on Twitter, which is a Twitter @ this man has done some insane research. Now, you guys may remember, and I talked about this a long time ago when we researched the stuff that was said by Piuk. Now, Piuk was an Italian, kind of like leaker, but he wasn't really leaking anything because we can't prove that he's been leaking anything yet. But the man had some information that was quite interesting, okay, let's just put it that way, and the thing is, we were never able to prove him wrong, though, that's the thing. Nobody's able to, like, fully debunk what he said, or what he showed us, and that was the biggest issue with it, right? We didn't know anything. But it also gave us the biggest scavenger hunt we've ever had in the community. Now, I talked a little bit about the latest post, seemingly from Piuk, yesterday. I talked about that yesterday, and I mentioned it, and I brought it up. But today we have something different. We have a giant breakdown made by Detective Gooky. It's a humongous breakdown, let's just be honest, okay? This is huge. There's a lot to go through, and I thought we'd do that in this video and break down everything he said here. Of course, he's written everything, I guess, in Spanish, but we're going to be, looking at it in English here, which is translated through, Microsoft Translate, so shout out to them. But yeah, so here we go, guys. He starts off by saying that rumor equals Piuk, or Piuk's rumor is Pokemon in United Kingdom, which, if you read the name Piuk, it's Pokemon in UK, which is very creepy when you think about it. That back in 2018, 2017, end of 2017, start of 2018, that's when the Piuk rumors showed up. That ever since then, that could have been his name, that, like, his name was literally just Pokemon in the UK. I mean, honestly, that would be insane. So that was one of the first things that was mentioned, which kind of caught my attention, hence why I read the rest of this stuff and kind of looked into it a bit further. And the more I keep looking at it, the more I realize, like, more and more things just kind of pop into my head from what Piuk was, saying in the past. But thanks to Detective Gooky here, we have a bit of a rundown of everything. So, we start with that. So, let's start with that. So, rumor, Piuk, Pokemon United Kingdom, we equal, started with the first thing I could collect from him. Before he made a thread with several more, piece of information, but still had a trip code, and I have not been able to find it. Between, I got some questions from different users. So we continue down here, and here's one of the posts here. Anything more on the supposed new battle system / arena? Also more details on the 17 new Pokemon within the area you translated. And here's the thing, right? So this is when Piuk was answering questions. I actually sat, I think, up till 7 in the morning and was reading through all these responses he was giving, and it was so much I can't remember everything, and this was almost like, I mean, this was over a year and a half ago almost now. It's been, I mean, this was like September, actually not a year and a half. It was over a year ago at least. It was over a year ago that I was reading this, and this was posted on the 17th of September 2018 here. As he, like, because he basically brought up the fact of, like, a new system, battle system, and arenas for Pokemon gym battles, which is what's kind of interesting. There's right here, and then, when he responds with this, I can just repeat it, man. You'll be able to use special items in the arena. Those items can't be assigned to Pokemon, can be assigned to Pokemon, and they affect the field in some specific or different way, which, when you look at the actual arena, would make sense, because the arena is pretty much just flat, so there's not really anything else that could happen there besides field changes. And since they said that these gyms are going to be somewhat different, and they mentioned gym masters, clearly something's going to be different here. So what if those items you're going to be able to use are just going to change the arena's, like, landscape and maybe make it harder to hit some moves, or maybe it's going to be more advantage for this type of Pokemon versus this type of Pokemon. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And here's what basically Detective Gooky wrote, is that I started by putting the UBA question, and they put, and they do to Piuk with respect to a previous thread that was made an answer, and same do not say anything weird. New battle system, arena, special items for the arena continues. Alright, so next thing. He's down here, which is this thing right here. So, are there any descriptions of the new Pokemon other than those you have already described? A fat grass Pokemon, females have big ears, fire in its eyes, real face. Interesting, right? Interesting. I remember that was his description of the Pokemon, right? A fat grass Pokemon, which Gooky is kind of chunky. Females have bigger ears, fire in its eyes. I mean, that would be a fire Pokemon. A real face would be, I guess, Sobel. And, you know, another question referring to something that he said before. Stay with the description that gives the new Pokemon, and then we have that answer. You sound a starter with confusing face. Stay also with the names that are given below. And you can see right here, I'm quite confident that they will show at least one thing I already mentioned. Just keep in mind that the starter, if one of them has a confusing face, here we go. Alternatively, keep in mind the Jungle Boy Sylvan, the food name Kotu, and the big fat grass Pokemon. All of them should be potentially relevant for a real trailer. Which we didn't say anything about, like, some Jungle Boy, nothing like that. The only Pokemon with a confusing face, I guess, is Sobel, being the water type, being a little bit confused. I guess that's the only one, but who am I to say? Next thing here. Look at one of the images with which he finished his leak. Clearly you see a stadium, a mobile game that gives you clues on the new battle system, and most importantly, a logo of the gyms. February 2018 continue. So I guess we see right here, this is his post right here, and I think if you zoom in here, you'll see the logo right there, guys. A stadium and a logo that's kind of like mashing into each other, like the logo we've seen in the arena. I think even like, yeah, right there it is. That's the that's how the logo is made for, like, this arena, man. It's like wow. See, that's the thing, right? That's what makes this so intriguing. Looking back into this stuff, it's insane. I mean, then again, this stuff the rest of the stuff doesn't make much sense, though, right? The rest of the stuff is a little bit weird, because the rest of the stuff just doesn't seem to go, like, logically make any sense. Then Hero Academy 2, which I'm gonna look up exactly what Hero Academy 2 is. So Hero Academy 2 is a strategy card game. It's kind of like, wait, no, is it? It's kind of like a defense strategy game. I'm actually going to put it on screen here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is what Hero Academy 2 looks like. It's kind of one of those, like, strategy-esque games with cards, like card games. But it's slightly different because you can change positions on the arena and I guess have arena effects, which is what he mentioned. So very interesting. And put the logos of the gyms, February 2018, continue. Alright, I'm going to investigate what else may be related during the day. I'll continue updating this thread little by little, little by little. Down, I put a special mention to the theme of the kingdoms, literally says Milo Kingdom. So right here, there is an airport, turbo mechanics, stats boost for weaker Pokemon, Snake Brothers, one bad, one good, and vice versa. Evil Team is building a huge town so to attract people from the villages and empty the island. It would be nice to see some pics of your rooms, guys. Here you have a collage of mine to start. Wait, in the end, nothing bad can happen if I share a few random images of my little kingdom. And we're going to Galar, which literally, is based in the United Kingdom. Goodbye, VP. Wish you all months and months of fun. Which again is just even more intriguing, man. Like, there's so many things now that are to be questioned. I am instantly questioning myself, because when I read these, I was expecting Sri Lanka, I was expecting India, I was expecting like a country that wasn't, that wasn't the UK when he posted this rumor, and what he was saying and all the hints. I think the big hints he gave it to us just felt more like Sri Lanka, whereas the smaller things that we didn't think about now make more sense. And this is the same thing with like a lot of things Masuda posts as well. Like Masuda, for example, posting an image of the moon being out during daytime, right? And he's like, oh, the moon's out a bit too early, where's the sun, or whatever. And that shit, like, was eventually, we didn't know that at first, but that ended up then being, truly a hint. You know what I mean? That's the thing, right? The small things could be something, and that's what makes me very interested about all this. So, let's continue to the next thing, I guess. So we read that Milo Kingdom part. Next thing here, Al0412 here, so shout out to that man. He has discovered that the stadium of the first image is the British Basketball League, which will stage this season's trophy final to the 17,000 people capacity O2 Arena in London, as MVP first revealed. It is also has the skewers as the stadiums of Galars, which is true as well. I mean, it's got like these things like sticking out of it, which are a little bit strange. Let's put it that way. If we look up this actual, let's see, if we look up the British Basketball League, let's search it up. I think we'll be able to find, let's see, and we search stadium. I think we'll be able to find like one from the outside, which should show that. But honestly, I am just intrigued by this, man. Like, this just makes me so intrigued. So shout out to the man, Al0412 for that discovery, though, which is interesting then, because then instantly we have a UK connection in his rumor then, alongside this logo thing below there, which means that these three are all connected. We're talking about the hero thing, right, which means, like, some sort of abilities being used on the field, like in that game. We have the logo, which is literally, like, similar to the logo that we have for the actual region, with two, like, you know, wolves kind of bending around each other, and a giant stadium in the UK, which is literally what that is, except this one's for basketball, with the one we saw feels more like a football one. Which is interesting. Next thing here, this can refer to a Pokemon with variations of colors, styles, or shinies. Como, I guess is just a Spanish word, has told me that what all 0412 said, I think, that could be a track of forms of Galar, or just part of the story that the evil team is recruiting people, which brings me to the next topic. So yeah, this could either be, like I said, them recruiting people and turning them into, like, part of their evil team, or just pushing them out of the, you know, the countryside into the cities. Or this could be Galarian forms, or a new coat of paint for shiny Pokemon. Anything's possible. Next thing, alright, so, another thing, Jekyll and Mr. Hyde can be represent the two sides, two shapes of the legendary game boxes, two wolves, or wolf with two shapes. And wow, that is, I didn't even know that. You got two little stone things there, and you got a Pokeball back and forth, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So yeah, the wolves would make sense with that, wouldn't they? Huh. All right. Next thing. Now you have to take the following with a record of salt, or rather a mountain of salt. You have to think that Piuk was a translator, and that things could be misunderstood while translating. True that as well. By airport, he surely refers to trains, and also says that there will be a connection with Tesselia. Okay, I'm not sure what Tesselia means, but let's read what he posted here. So you mentioned, of course, there's an airport, Turbo Mechanics, Snakes Brothers, and Evil Team is building a huge town. And if you actually see down here, you know, you've got needs rare Pokemon eggs as tributes, inner strength personification, stat boosts for weaker Pokemon through the Turbo feature. You've got a wormhole up in the top corner right there, next to, like, above the American flag. You've got a airport connection here, something like that. Like, you got a distant region over there, you can clearly see that. You got clearly a flying type evolution and a rock type evolution, because you got an Eevee with a, I'm not sure what you guys call those things, like, I don't know what you guys call those things when you fly with them, and, you know, an Eevee upon a giant rock. You got these tuk-tuk, or whatever they're called, like these trucks. You got a snake, a good snake, and you got, of course, the bad snake up there. Brothers plot twist. Collect lights to ensure nutrients for abyss creatures. Cooperative spirit personification, etc., etc., etc. Just a bunch of random stuff. Let's just put it that way. But he continues on, he's saying that, remember the thread I made on trains Tesselia that were not used for absolutely nothing, because we know what they are used. Snakes Brothers are simply the duality, which I'm not sure what he's trying to get across there. I'm a little bit confused by that, but let's just continue. As I say, if you put the good snake and the bad snake, I think you did not know at the time that the animal were the legendaries, but as they speak of them could be snakes, we know that they are wolves now. So that's very true. Like, as you mentioned up here, right? You know, you have to take it with a mind and a salt, because if Piuk was a translator, if he truly was a translator, then he could have misunderstood some parts, because remember that when his original post came out, he did say a lot of the stuff that he had to work with was redacted. A lot of the information was, you know, not, you know, concrete or, you know, full. It was just a little bit of everything. So it could be that, like, he misunderstood what the animals were, and maybe even he misunderstood some other aspects of it. But then again, that makes it then a bit questionable. If he misunderstood that, then how did he know it was the UK by having his name being Piuk, you know, Pokemon in the UK? But then, you know, the rest of all the other information he had, like, for example, take for example this, right? Like, how did he not know that it was going to be the UK and just decided to make an island that looks more reminiscent to, like, Sri Lanka, and more connections to Sri Lanka with the food and stuff, rather than, you know, something else. But then again, I actually have another discovery of my own, because he mentions a food, right? There's actually a similar food, if you guys remember the trailer, Pokemon Sword and Shield trailer. Now, you will notice what I'm talking about once I get to this, but you'll see what I'm on about, because if we go to the trailer and we look at the starting one of the cities here, right here, you'll notice right here in the city, this food on the wall right here could be that food that Piuk was talking about. Because remember, the Pokemon food isn't the same as normal human food. It's two different, two different coins. Two different things, let's just put it that way. But that food, if you look at the trailer right here, I'm going to put the image on the screen so you guys can actually see it. Right here. So look at that, right? That to me, let's just think about this logically, right? That to me looks straight up like, it could be some sort of, and I mean, the text kind of reminds me, of, first of all, that I was thinking, like, is this like Indian food and all that sort of stuff? And since also, like, the UK has a large population of Indian people and that sort of stuff, and, people from that part of the world, like, I guess, like, Southern Asia and whatnot, or Southwestern Asia, I guess is kind of what I should say instead. Either way, that part of, like, Asia, right? Would it be surprising that maybe this food is supposed to be that referential food? But, like, honestly, that's what I'm starting to feel. But either way, let's go back to the actual information right here. So, let's see what we were. Now, next thing, as I said, if you look, put the lad of the good snake and the bad snake, and I think I did not know at the time that the animal with the legendaries. Alright. Next thing, on these images again, what they want to attract, when they said they want to attract rural people to the city, is completely consistent with what we see on the map of Galar. The big city above, Turbo Mechanic is what you can you all call Armor Evolution. Surely, that's very possible. But he's also right about the other thing, right? Look at the actual, look at the way this map of Galar works, right? The bottom of the map is villages, right? The bottom of the map is just villages, and there's also a little bit like smaller villages, like slightly above that one, like the middle city right here in the middle, right? There's a little bit of a city right here, but if you look at the bottom, clearly this is like just villages and kind of like rural areas, rural places, and they try to take people out of those rural places, like even this over here, these areas over here, they're trying to take them out and maybe into the big cities. That would actually make a lot of sense, because clearly these other cities are big and chunky and like, just monstrosities, versus these small ass little, like, villages and stuff. So that would make a lot of sense. And the turbo mechanic could simply be a stat boost, which would be the armored evolution thing, which literally could be that, but it also could be like just its own like separate thing. More things, if you look again in the picture, we see two evolutions, flying and rock or earth. Above left, you can see a book. The hills have eyes. Well, guess what? The hills have eyes. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The hills literally have eyes, because this hill has a monster with eyes and several small creatures with eyes. This is not even like, I mean, honestly, this isn't even funny anymore. It's literally making more and more sense. Looking down here saying that, by the way, talks about the... Whatever it talks about, there will be a Pokemon Chubby plant. It looks like something related to this Buddha or whatever this is. This has put, which I'm not sure if that's what it is, but who knows. And we continue down here saying that I think at the moment here we cannot get anything clear yet. If someone finds out something, they can tell me. First, I do see the meaning over Yi. So I'm not. Yeah. So right here, goodbye. You actually see there's like a Yi. So it's actually not like goodbye as like the full. It's good B, and then YE is separate. In like in quotes there in a weird way. I'm not sure. That's really strange. And then he continues on saying, let's divide the other images as appropriate to distinguish all parts. The top of the sheet seems a sword and shield. Although I may be wrong, then we have this, what seems a clue about Sobel, implying that one of the initials would be so. So if you look right here, you've got a weird kind of like, I think that those are the planets, right? Because actually, let me see how many there are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8. So, I mean, Pluto doesn't count anymore, so how many do we have? We have, let's see. How many are there? There should be about 8, right? Yeah. Okay, so there are more planets than stars in our galaxy. The current count orbiting our star are 8. The inner rocky planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The outer planets are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So yeah, it's 8. It's correct. So those are the planets, essentially. You got a duality here, with like yin-yang type duality going on. UI, I'm not sure what that's meant to be. Then you got some genes, which is really weird. And you got a chameleon, which is clearly, what like Sobel essentially is. That's what Sobel essentially is. At Strawberry Shift Lob is what he says right there. And I'm trying to like read this backwards, like bolt feet. I mean, nah, this doesn't say anything. And then he says something about, you gave us knowledge and truth, straight and inward faith, our divine light and something, breath of the end, and liberation. You granted us, bondage free, inspiration, inspire us forever. And then you can notice that the word like knowledge and the word, inward or insecure faith or inward faith. Those are like bolded, right? Those are bolded. And of course you have a giant, like you got an elephant right there that's like red, and yeah, it's a bit strange. Next thing, which I'm not sure where he sees a sword here. I don't really see a sword besides maybe the line in the middle, but nothing beyond that. Then the text below is somewhat religious, but I cannot find the meaning. Perhaps Sobel evolves into a Templar, and there was a fan art over there on something similar. They continue down here saying that I think there is also a track on the stations at the top of, at the top, and not that will be a boy with the cowboys, you know, if you think I'm like I'm actually not sure what that's supposed to mean. But either way, so again, I'm not sure what strawberries I'm not sure what's the best, but I mean, I don't know. Let's see. So next thing, we go now with this: a door, a peacock, two elderly, and matches. It seems that there will be a Pokemon balloon again. The stadiums that will that we have already spoken about, the Blue Guys too, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, more of the same. And you'll notice here again, you got an old couple, you got some river, you've got a peacock, you've got a wardrobe with two eyes staring at it, and you got some fireworks seemingly. You got Jekyll and you know, whatnot. And then of course the final post which came out, which was, you know, hi again guys, just giving you a heads up, a few guys within our translation team have been asked to move into international websites content, so to support the editors and web managers for planned upcoming updates. This type of project runs into parallel with the script translation, and it is indeed a clear signal that something big is going to happen soon. And it's not just about the movie. There are a few regional coordinators managing this whole process: Continental Europe, United Kingdom, US and Canada, rest of America, Australia, and three of Asia's. And for what I heard, that's one of the most stressful positions to cover, as they will take all the blame if something goes wrong. This happened several times in the past, where the miscoordination between macro regions led to the publication of too much information on the German official website or Taiwan anticipating stuff days before the go-ahead. Anyway, I think the advantage to tell you that most of the assumptions you made in relation to the images I posted a while ago sound correct to me. After today, I'm going to stop posting here as quietly soon. There will be a fax to speak for me. Following the announcement, I'll be very happy to contact privately who's in charge of some of the Pokemon specialized websites and share some extra information. Nothing big, of course, but don't expect the whole Pokedex or in-game screenshots in case they will show interest. I'll share my 4chan password so they can test the trip. I will feel much more protected in that way, which again sounds reasonable if somebody actually ends up hitting him up. Now, obviously, there's here he's leaving a lot of tracks. Look to personalize the room. Possibly can happen that in the games, if you're lucky to have a pet, it can run around and interact with you. There are many games that you can play together. Of course, you are not a whale. And here's the interesting thing about this, right? With his room, and you can playing with your Pokemon in there, because people mentioned that in the trailer, in one of the characters' homes, you can see like a Munchlax that's reacting with the player, and then potentially that you can have Pokemon following you inside your houses, which would be cool. Now, before leaving, I have an odd question for you: how your rooms look like. I've always been fascinated with thinking how people's room look like, and in a way, a room is a mirror of your soul. A room is that place you can personalize as much as you want. You can paint the walls and add decorations and even make it bigger if you have enough money. And if you're lucky enough to have a pet, it can run around and interact with you. There are so many games you can play together. Actually, I just realized now, we've been over 20 minutes now. Holy moly, that's insane, guys. So 20 minutes of recording right now. 23, actually. It's been a long video, I've told you. And a room you can personalize. Sitting in a room with a nice cup of tea is also... And he mentions a cup of tea. What's the most British thing in the world? Tea. Tea is also great if you want to spend some time reorganizing your life. For example, you can move your files around on your laptop and easily connect with your friends or strangers if you want to swap messages or something else and play together. In the end, who needs to go out in the real world when you can do everything from your room straight after the opening titles of your day? This is so sketchy. It'd be nice to see some pictures of your rooms, etc., etc. A few random images of my little kingdom. Goodbye, VP. I wish you all months and months of fun. Which is interesting again. Now, cup of tea, another reference to England. The rest is that it is a clue, but I cannot think that you could refer outside that from the room you can connect online or local and make battles, which is literally what that could be referencing. The last thing he put, Piuk. This we do not know if it's true or not. Anyway, we will discover little by little. So this was one of the things posted that we didn't know if it was from the real Piuk or not. It was hard to tell. But hundreds of years ago, this submerged town gave birth to one of the most famous trainers of all times. Its name was Pallet Town, and you have like basically him suggesting that Pallet Town would be submerged underwater. underwater next to this giant Galar region, right? Thank you, and then also thank you to Pago Daz for reminding me that he recently, Shigeru Mori, posted a picture of a peacock, much like Piuk. So of course Piuk had the peacock, and you guys know that they're hinting at Pokemon whenever they post these sort of things. They just are, man. They're sketchy as hell, dog. So yeah, definitely, Mori posted this, and he also redacted people's faces and stuff. So clearly this is an important image to him to put out there, and I think this is the same thing that happens with Masuda. There's actually a Pokemon an animal that I know is going to become a Pokemon in this game. I know for a fact is going to go a specific Pokemon, not just like, oh, it's a bird, you know what I mean, but like a specific animal that's going to become a Pokemon that I know of, which essentially is already like almost proven at this point, and also Masuda's posted about it, so they hint that sort of stuff. Now, next thing here, we're gonna have to like just translate this, separately here. Of course, Piuk equals Pokemon United Kingdom, true, and then if we go right here, we'll be able to translate this separately, because sometimes, like, I don't know, this stuff doesn't work properly, and then here, right there, Twitter, to this person, Javier Torres, says that born in the USA, pueda significar, which is basically another thing. Born in the USA can mean several things. Literally, the product comes from the USA. The teacher who gives you the starters comes from the USA, because it is right next to the starter track that someone in the story comes from. So that is very true. We've talked about how Unova, and I said this before, I think Unova is connected to Galar region, because if you look at real life history, Americans are essentially, a group of British people that decided to not stay in the UK anymore and went to the, United States, but then didn't want to stay a part of the, United Kingdom, or, the British people, right? Because they want to be their own independent people in the United States. So they split apart through a war, right? So that's where I see a connection between these two. Maybe Unova and Galar were like the same thing, same people at one point, but then they split apart, and now, people have come back from Unova, to Galar, because, in the future, and if you look right now, the relationship between the UK and the US is pretty good. They're pretty close allies, right? There's no longer any conflict there, so that could be the same thing going on here. So yeah, this could be very possible. And then of course there's also this field system online mode. I'll explain. In online mode, all players will have their own fields, and there could be and there they could build and call Pokemon theoretically, which actually again is so intriguing, man. So yeah, I want to cut this video here, right, guys, because honestly we're gonna go for over 30 minutes at this point, and I want to cut it here so we don't go exactly over 30 minutes. But like I said, it's a big chunky video today, and I have even more stuff here from Detective Gooky. So if you want to check it out on your own, check out his stuff, then please check the link in the description down below. I'm gonna link to his stuff so you guys can check it out. But thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, then drop a like down below. Thank you for being here. Freaking love you guys, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, no, wait, why am I leaving this early? No, what I want to say was, holy shit. I was gonna end the video right there, but then I realized, wait a minute, we've just discovered so many things. The one thing that came to me in my mind, but I decided it wasn't worth making a video about, which he then brought up, plus extra stuff, is the arenas. The arenas is what I was thinking of, because the arenas make the most sense here through Piuk's hints. We know the arenas are big and chunky. He's literally said it's big and chunky. The logo looks the same. You got the whole, like, design thing going on for it. It's the same. You've got the whole area of field effect type thing going on, which definitely is going to be in the gyms, with the gym masters and stuff like that. Something is happening here, and I'm just intrigued into knowing what it is. Honestly, I don't know anymore. This is just too crazy, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna ask you like this. Do you think Piuk is right or wrong? I am really curious. I'm gonna have another video probably on this subject line with more information from Detective Gooky, but also some stuff that I've realized myself. I'm gonna be covering that later, because I don't want this to go over for like 40 minutes or shit. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Holy moly, that was intense.